Hey, what's up everybody? Nick Ruffini here, and I am at the Boso Groove shop. And we are going to go over something today that I call bass drum figures. And it's a 2-beat phrase, and what we do is we place the bass drum on the first beat, always in the same spot, and then it moves in the second beat as you go through. I have a PDF that I can send to you if you want to read in the notes below. I will send you the PDF for it. And also, this thing is something that you want to take very slowly. So you want to go from one beat to the next, and then we kind of put it all together moving forward. So let's check it out. I'll explain it to you as we go, and I hope you enjoy it. So let me show you how this whole thing goes. It's 2 beats, like I said, and then we just repeat it over and over again, so you get a 4-beat phrase, so it sounds a little bit more normal. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put the kick on beat 1. So everything that we do through this whole entire exercise, the beat will be on beat 1. The snare will always be on beat 2. Okay? So you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 8 notes on the hi-hat and keeping the kick and the snare on 2, the kick on 1. Okay? So it'll sound something like this. Very simple, straightforward thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to move to the next beat. So everything happens after beat 2. The first exercise is the one that we just did. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place a kick on the E of 2. So it would sound like this. So if you put it together, you would keep the kick on beat 1 from the first exercise, the snare on 2 from the first exercise. Now we're just adding an E after the second beat. Sounds something like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So the next one that we're going to do, the kick is going to be on the and of 2. Everything else stays the same. Kick on 1, snare on 2. Now instead of playing the kick on the E of 2, we're going to play it on the and of 2. So it sounds something like this. 1, 2. And 1, and 1, and 2, 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 and 2. Okay, moving on. You probably guessed it by now, but now the kick is going to be on the of 2. So it'll sound a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, and a 1 and 2, and a 1 and 2, a 1 and 2, a 1 and 2, and a 1 and 2, a 1, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, a 1, 2. Now we're on to the next section. Now there's going to be 2 kicks after beat 2. Everything else stays the same. Kick on 1, then now there's going to be 2 kicks after the 2. So the first one is we're going to put the kick on the E of 2 and also the and of 2. So it'll sound something like this. 1 and 2 and 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 1. Now the next one will be we're going to place the kick on the E of 2 and the of 2. 1 and 2, a 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 1 and 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the and of 2 and the of 2. So it'll sound something like this. 1 and 2. Now the last one in this 8 examples is you're putting the kick on the E, the and also the of beat 2. So it'll sound something like this. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, Alright, so now you got all of these figured out. You've done each one of them, you figured out where the kick is lying, and so now what you want to do is start to put them together and move from one section to the next without stopping. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to play them at a pretty slow speed so that you can get an idea of what's going on. I'm going to play each section 4 times. Remember, it's only a 2-beat phrase, so it's actually going to just be 2 4-bar phrases or 4-beat phrases, but it's going to, it's actually 4 times through the exercise since they're only 2-beat phrases. Alright, so here's how the whole thing sounds. On to the next one. Next one. Next one. On to the next one. Alright, so now that you have that down, let's look at some different variations that you can do aside from playing 8 notes with your right hand. You can move to quarter notes. So it doesn't sound like it would be harder, but it actually is because you're dealing with so many different subdivisions. So let's check out how that would sound. Let's look at the next one. Third one. Fourth one. Okay? So that's one variation that you can do. The next variation that you can do is you can take your right hand, move it to the ride cymbal, play 8 notes on the ride cymbal, put quarter notes on the hi-hat with your foot. So it would sound like this. Okay, now we're going to put the 2 on snare, same way that we did before. Sound like this. And then you move through that permutation the same way that you did on the first Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through 3 variations really quick, and then I'm going to show you some different exercises that we can do within the same concept. Okay, so moving forward, when you practice this stuff, you want to play straight through the whole entire exercise using one variation. So you want to do it with the quarter notes on the hi-hat, with the 8 notes on the hi-hat, going to the ride, and be able to play each exercise all the way through. So maybe play each example 4 times. So kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, and then play that 4 times. Move to the next one. Kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick. So you want to kind of move through the whole entire exercise without stopping, and then change the variation with your hands. Moving on even farther with this, you can take the beat 1 and you can start messing around with where that kick is. So you can move the kick from the 1 to the E. So that would sound something like this. 1, So now that you have that whole thing figured out, you can keep moving with this. So rather than putting the kick on the E of 1, you can put it on the AND of 1. And then you can put it on the of 1. And then you can put 1E. Right? So there's a bunch of different combinations that you can do with this. So what I'm going to do is I'll play the groove, and then I'll put it on the 1, and then I'll put it on the E of 1, and then I'll put it on the AND of 1, then I'll put it on the of 1, and then I'll put it on the 1E. Okay, just so you can get a feel for how this whole thing starts to sound. All right? 1, 2, 1, 2. And here it is on the E. Now you can do any of those variations on any of these exercises. So as you can see, there's a ton of different variations that you can do with this stuff. And actually, I'm going to go and make another video of some even more advanced techniques that you can use with this. So it's a pretty cool concept, and I really appreciate you hanging out at the Groove Shop with me. And if you have any questions, email me. My email is listed below. It is just nick@nickruffini.com. Pretty easy to remember. And yeah, I also have a PDF of it, so if you want it, shoot me an email. I'll send it right over to you. And thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.